Okay, so good morning, everyone. I am Ben Uy from the Philippine Trade and Investment Center here in Brussels, Belgium. My work here is to promote export and investments in the Benelux area, but most of the time we do representations to the EU institutions here, with Brussels being the headquarters of the European Union. So for today's presentation, I'll be tackling these topics. So I'll introduce to you the Team Europe of FTSC, and then the EU economy and the effects of COVID-19, trade policy updates, UK after Brexit, and then market trends and opportunities, with focus on Germany and France. And these are the two major markets in this part of the world. So the Team Europe, of course, we have offices in Geneva, in London, Berlin, Paris, of course, here in Brussels, and we have a new office in Bern, and we also have offices in Moscow and Stockholm. For today's session, I'm very happy to be joined by my colleagues from Berlin and Paris. So we have here Commercial Counsellor Althea Antonio and also Commercial Counsellor Froilan Pamintuan. So EU, the European Union has 27 member states. So these are the countries. You can see it in the picture in front of you. So it's a huge market with 450 million population. Germany being the largest country in terms of population, they have 83 million. France 67 million, then Italy 60 million. In terms of GDP, the size of the EU market, not including Switzerland, UK, Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, and Norway. So just EU 27, the size is $18.4 trillion. So it's really a huge market. And you can see here that Germany is the biggest economy, and followed by France and then Italy. Okay, so it is a lucrative market because the per capita of EU is 44,500. So they have a lot of disposable income, which makes them able to afford a lot of products that we can export, especially the higher end ones. And median age of EU is 44 years old. So it's an aging population. Most of the young ones are migrants. But with this aging population, they have certain needs which you and your products may be able to cater to. Okay, updates on effects of COVID. So actually, EU or Europe as a whole is really affected by COVID-19. So right now we're experiencing the second wave. So you'll see here, we're all dark brown. So Philippines nga and some parts of Southeast Asia are even lighter, and East Asia is even yellow. So what does this mean? This picture shows you that the whole of Europe has more than 120 confirmed cases per 100,000 inhabitants. So most of us are in lockdown or semi-lockdown or whatever you call it. So basically everybody are asked to stay home, and some schools are closed, but here in Belgium we're not, so kids can still go to school. But movement is really restricted, borders are closed, and everybody's basically asked to stay home and work from home. Here, the EU Commission released just a few weeks ago their forecast for the year. So they say that the economy will contract by 7.8% on 2020, and it will hopefully rebound on 2021 and grow by 4.1%, and then grow by 3% 2022. So based on these figures, the Euro area or in the EU will not be likely to recover to its pre-pandemic area or level by 2022. So unemployment is also rising. So for 2019 to 2020, it will increase by 7.7% and will continue to increase in 2021. So that will really have an impact also in the economy as a whole and also on the buying patterns of the market here. So before we proceed to individual markets, to Germany and France and market trends, I thought I should also brief you a macro overview on the trade policy that will have an effect on our trade and your exports going to the EU. So GSP, the EU GSP Plus. So yes, we still have it. It has been the issue last September when, as you most of you have heard in the news, the EU Parliament released a resolution against the Philippines or calling for the removal of the GSP Plus beneficiary status for us. But that's the parliament, and we have to understand that just like the Philippines, there are different independent branches of government. So there's a parliament, the lawmaking one, and the commission, the executive. So we deal mostly with the European Commission, who is the executive branch, and they haven't removed the GSP Plus. So the Philippines continue to enjoy GSP Plus. But of course, there is pressure from all sides that they should be stricter in monitoring our compliance to the criteria and to all the requirements to having GSP Plus. So the Philippines naman, in our statement, and we have been very consistent that we welcome EU's monitoring mission and we answer all their questions and all their issues and all their concerns. So that's ongoing. Your government prefers to handle it in a quiet way, and we are providing the Commission with all the information and data that they need to assess our compliance to the 27 UN Convention. But yes, we still continue to enjoy it. So just quick stats, the EU GSP Plus covers around 6,274 products, and we export using the GSP Plus worth 2 billion euros worth of goods now every year. So total export of the Philippines going to EU is 8.3 billion. So around 25% of that uses GSP Plus. So top products that uses GSP is coconut oil, vacuum cleaners, processed tuna, bicycle, lenses, tires, and many more. So the destination for our products, our export mainly goes to Germany, of course, it being the biggest market here. Netherlands. Netherlands is quite small, but they have the biggest port. So some countries uses Netherlands as their port of entry towards mainland Europe. And then UK 8%, then France and Italy. So before I move on, I just would like to remind all our exporters, and please pass the message to your colleagues and to your fellow exporters exporting to EU, to please contact BOC or EMB and already have yourself registered at the EU REX system. Because by end of this year or starting 2021, the EU will no longer be recognizing Form A for your certificate of origin. So you have to self-certify using the EU REX system. So you have to be registered in that portal. So it's easy, just contact BOC. And then, so now, as I've said, we continue to enjoy GSP Plus. By 2023, the current 10-year GSP scheme will expire. So that's end of 2023. And then after that, there will be a new GSP scheme that EU will use. So hopefully by then, we will be able to re-enroll, or we have made ourselves an upper middle income economy and therefore no longer be eligible for GSP Plus. But we are also working towards having a Philippines EU FTA. So as of now, we had 2 rounds of talks and it's on pause. EU side haven't scheduled the next round of talks, although Philippines has been quite aggressive in asking our colleagues here in EU to already resume talks to us, whether formally or informally on working groups, because we understand that FTA has a lot of chapters to be negotiated. So we're at that. So, these are some policy EU-wide that will affect market trends. So we have here the EU Green Deal. So the EU Green Deal, this is like a motherhood policy in the EU, sustainability in all forms, in terms of energy, in terms of transportation, mobility, in terms of climate, and in terms of even farm to they have this new program called Farm to Fork. So they will also be coming up with requirements and controlling food production, food distribution, management of waste, all under the umbrella of the Green Deal and having sustainable development. So they have that farm to fork. They have these regulations for composite products. They have new regulations for organic products starting 2022. They are now talking about carbon border tax. So for those countries with high carbon production, you will be taxed aside from the tariff that is imposed on the product. No, so but this is still being debated. And then there's also the corporate due diligence legislation where they will compel consumers here or companies importing goods to also do due diligence from their sources to make sure that the products they use, the raw materials that they import, are also in compliance with all the sustainability requirements of EU. So there's also this strategic autonomy. So this is a policy now being talked about here in the EU Parliament and in the Commission. Basically, because of COVID-19, they realized that there are a lot of products, essential products that they have been importing. So EU now is in the mode of assessing and developing their own capability to produce certain essential goods, so that they will be autonomous come another pandemic will come. Next is, of course, Brexit and the UK-EU FTA. So the clock is ticking for EU and UK to come into an agreement as to the FTA. So far, wala pa. And they're quite, debating on it. So hopefully they'll come up with an FTA. But this is something between UK and EU mainland. And this should not be something of a very big concern for third parties like us. I will tell you now about the effect of the Brexit to UK and to the Philippines. So yesterday, I interviewed my colleague based in London, Miss Michelle Sanchez, and then she told me that, of course, UK remains to be Philippines' fourth largest market here in Europe, and it's a very important market. We trade around 1.3 billion worth of goods, and services is quite big. So this is like $1 billion. I think this is something related to IT-BPM. Now, after Brexit, after December 31st, on January, UK will now be using the UK global tariffs. So this is their schedule of the tariffs going into UK. So please find time to search it and to study it to see the new applicable rates for your product. But most of it will be based on MFN, and studies of our Bureau of International Trade Relations, BITR, show that 38% of products exported to UK will benefit from simplified and more liberal rules. Also, paano naman yung mga produkto na using the EU GSP+? So you can all be assured that UK will implement the UK GSP program by January 2021, and it will mirror the benefits enjoyed by the beneficiaries of the EU GSP scheme. So no worries about that. They will use the same scheme. They will just call it a different name, UK GSP program. Okay, so now to the market trends in Germany and in France. So we're focusing on two sectors, food and houseware. So actually, you will see here, this is a slide provided in Anuga's website. So you will see here, but basically these are the top 10 trends in 2019 from the survey of Innova Market Insights. So you will see here that, consumers will be more adventurous, and of course they will be looking for stories. So they want stories behind the product that they consume. Where does it come from? Made by women, made by indigenous people, all those nice stories that go behind the production of those food products. And of course, everybody's going vegan and plant-based. So that's also a trend. So for example, in making coffee, it's no longer just milk. So there are a whole lot of different kinds of milk: soy milk, almond milk, wheat milk, rice milk, and even coconut milk. Not the gata, but coconut milk for coffee. So alternative proteins. So now people are studying the raw langka, the jackfruit, as an alternative for meat because of its chewiness and its neutral taste. And then of course, the green appeal, and then healthy snacking, and then endless customization. Everybody wants to customize something, even their food. And then the use of superfood, no? So ingredients and your highly nutritional ingredients like moringa, turmeric, cinnamon, and all those things are also very important and sought after. This one naman, we got it from Sial. Sial is the biggest food show in Paris. So here you will also see the trends. So this is a very useful source of information. Here you can see here in the presentation a very big red font text, the website where you can read through this trend. So talks about that alcoholic beverages will still be in the still be in demand. Now, maybe smaller bottles because people are drinking alone at their own house. And then healthier sugars, so coconut sugar perhaps. And then here, for example, innovation hot drinks. So people are more, since everybody has time, so they have time to read through the different varieties of coffee, different varieties of cocoa. So here, I mean, one of our Filipina Belgian is making a lot of success because of the Belgian tablea. So she imports Philippine cacao, but make it as a chocolate drink, Belgian style. So that's also a trend. And then here, for the pastries, ingredients for pastries, they're looking for innovation also and healthier alternatives for their sweeteners. So this is a graph that my colleagues in Germany and Paris made. So I think this will really guide everybody. It depends on what kind of product you produce. Is it for the ethnic market? Is it for food ingredients? Or is it for niche or premium market? So if, for example, you're looking at producing products that are for niche and premium market, then your target would be the retailers and the specialized stores. And then the distribution network will be the importers and retailers. We can help you bridge to them. And also, like, these are the organic products, coffee, cacao, premium alcoholic beverages. So, and then for promotion platforms, you can use specialized trade fairs like Salon du Chocolat, Chocoa, Tavola, Biofac, Premier Class Twelely, and then MIPCOM, etc. So ano ba yung opportunities for our food products? So mainstream is really the new applications of coconut. So coconut milk, as I've said, not for coconut milk as gata, but coconut milk as a milk alternative for coffee, for example. And then there's coconut butter, the bars, and then dried fruits, of course, and then Philippine cacao and Philippine coffee. So we did some efforts already to mainstream these ones. So some of the chocolate makers here are using Philippine cacao beans. And also our colleague, for example, in Stockholm, has initiated contact with micro roasters, and they import small batches of Philippine coffee and roast it to their desire and then sell it to boutique coffee shops. Food ingredients, like everybody's now into superfoods. So food ingredients that will cater to that requirement has also an opportunity. So niche, so calamansi, organic products, pili, and through online stores. No, developmental. This is something that we have to look to also in the next few years. Well, not now because of the pandemic and the stoppage of the tourism, basically. But supplying cruise line is still a viable market, maybe 2 years down the road. But maybe we can already do our homework and look who are the buyers and who are the importers that supplies this one and start building relationships. No? So come when doors and borders are open and travel is back, then at least we have another foot on the door. Then house brands, of course, and contract manufacturing. Now, this is we're almost done. So this is the market for home decor and furnishing. So you will see here, again, if you want to position, for example, you want to market your own brand in the EU, then supplying for other EU boutique brands, specialty retailers, and limited quantities. No, so now with e-commerce really blossoming and taking over a lot of traditional shops here, there's a new ball game. No, so you have to study that as well. Now, for example, if you have private brands and that you want to promote, then of course the best outlet for that will still be showrooms and boutique shops and institutional markets. And here, for example, in the last column, if you're talking about this kind of brands, then for example, Kenneth Cobonto and Aranas, then you will have to use the platform like Maison and Objet, Salon de Mobile, Premier Class. Now, now in terms of trends, we really have to plan ahead, and there are really new trends now in the housing sector. No, so of course here in Europe, as I've mentioned earlier, the policy is really going green and sustainability. So materials used should have that story as well. And then it should be purposeful in design. It's not only just designed for art's sake, but really functional. And this is very important at times of COVID and after COVID. You know, we have to do combination of functional design, you know, marrying the bonhomie design for student halls, residences, and then with the sophistication of boutique hotel. Because here, they also like that one, it's still for more than one habitat, like the students or the graduate students in university towns here in Europe. But at the same time, they want to have that feel of a boutique hotel. So that's something that my colleagues in Germany and colleagues in France noticed. So I think this is something worth looking into. And of course, the cocooning and the work from home. In terms of trends, the use of materials like recycled materials, upcycling, rattan and bamboo is still in. And then mixed of leather and wood, that's still in. And then in terms of techniques, they want handmade, woven, braided. So that's also the trend that we notice. Of course, season still matters. We are in a 4-season continent. So, but with COVID, one has to see that, you know, there's a timing change now. I mean, before you can do it right before the season happens or few seasons before, but now you have to even adjust because of the problem with transportation, movement of goods, and also the volume. No, so itong COVID merong change in the dynamics for this one in pre-planning your production. Also, greening, dito din, nabanggit kanina yung plantitos and plantitas. So here in Europe, we also have a lot of plantitos and plantitas. Of course, you cannot export plants, but the pots, the hanger, the shelves, and all those things that accessorize it is something that you can also look into. So ito yung last slide. These are the trade fairs that we see that might be useful for you guys. So physical show next year, there's the Premier Class Tuileries. So sorry, I can't read this one correctly. And then it's for high-end fashion accessories. This will happen on March and October of 2021. And then we have the Salon du Chocolat. This will happen on October 2021. And then Salon International de l'Agriculture. So February 2021. But this is canceled because it's too soon. Tavola will still happen. So this is something that will happen here in Belgium. And it's a very niche but effective trade fair for you guys who want to supply hotels and restaurants with some of your high-end products. And World Private Label Expo in Amsterdam on May 2021 will still go on. So online platform, Biofac. This will happen in February 2021. My colleagues in Germany can answer if you want to participate here. And then they're also doing bundled shows already. So the International Consumer Goods Show, it's a special edition, will be merged with Christmas World, Paper World, and Ambiente. So this is scheduled on April 2021. And then there's this another one, Who's Next, Impact and Traffic, also merged. For fashion and accessories, this will happen on January and September. So hybrid show, It's a mix of physical and digital. This will be Anuga, will happen in October, and then Maison et Objet on March 2021, and also September 2021. So again, the name of the game here in Europe is really sustainability in terms of your story, the stories of your product, and also the process that in how you will produce your products. Because they will be asking for it, your buyers, your importers, and wholesalers will be asking for those. So please prepare for those and make sure your products are compliant to those regulations and those market requirements. So, like for example, also EU ban on single plastics. No. So also, I would like to mention that the general data protection regulation here is really, really tough. So in as much as we would like to give you that easily a list of buyers, list of importers, that's no longer possible. So everything is done one-on-one, and we have to go through the process of asking for their permission. But anyway, bear with us and just email us for your queries, and we will link you to them. So these are our email addresses. For any concerns, please feel free to email us, and my colleagues will be happy to help you. Thank you very much.